What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Belle Collective Season 2, Episode 6. So we start off this episode where we left off the previous episode, which was where Tambra and Demond were outside of her grandmother's home, and she brings up the subject of Taisha. Taisha being Latisha's decorator, because Taisha had confided in Latisha, telling Latisha that her and Demond, which is the guy that Tambra is currently dating, trying to have a baby with, possibly even trying to marry, is telling Latisha that her and Damon have an emotional connection. I don't remember because we're 6 episodes in now, but I really don't remember what exactly Taisha, how she phrased it to Latisha. I know she said emotional connection, but I'm wondering if she had said something more than that. But this whole emotional connection thing, now it's like that's a very vague term because you can have an emotional connection with a friend, a legit platonic friend. So I just don't remember if Taisha has said anything else like, I love him or he loves me or we're dating or we're sleeping with one another. I don't remember if she said anything else, but if she's just going to go on emotional connection, well, Taisha, that can go either way. But anyway, so Tambra brings this up to Demond. And, Demond, he basically denies it, and he says that he's just really friendly with everybody, and maybe Taisha mistook his friendliness for something more, but he's just a super friendly guy. So he denies it. He claims that there's nothing going on between him and Taisha, and Tambra believes him. Now, when Demond first came on the scene last season, in season 1, I thought Damon was like super chill, laid back, but this whole Taisha thing has like brought out the beast in him because he's like really defensive. In the confessional, he's like, next question, just pouncing on the producers, looking really mean and angry every time this whole Taisha thing is brought up. So I'm beginning to think that there is something going on between him and Taisha, but time will soon tell. Tambra, if I were you, what I would do, girl, I would have a sit down with Taisha and look at her evidence and figure out why she's saying what she's saying. I would have a conversation with her and see exactly where she's coming from. If she's showing you the exact same thing that Damon showed you, and your opinion is that the text messages were not really implying anything, sneaky or anything, like there was really something going on between them, then that's fine. Then you have your proof from her end and from his end. Everything is matching up. But she might have more to show you that Damon doesn't want you to see. So if I was Tambra, I would have a conversation with Taisha. I really would. Woman to woman, let's sit down, let's talk about this. Only if Tambra is serious about Damon. Now, if she just wants to use Damon as a sperm bank, okay, girl, that's one thing. It don't really matter what he's doing. But if you're considering being with this man, marrying him, and you want to like build a family with him, I think you might need to have a conversation with Taisha and see where she's coming from and what evidence does she have. Moving on to Marie. So, Marie meets up with Latrice and Latisha. Now, they were supposed to all three meet up for lunch, dinner, whatever, I don't know. But before Latisha even got into the restaurant, she got stuck in the parking lot because Glenn had been following her and he confronted her in the parking lot of this restaurant. And so the whole thing is Glenn was trying to call Latisha. Latisha wasn't answering the phone. So he pops up on her at this damn parking lot because he's been following her around, probably has her location. Supposedly he's got people following her too. That sounds really scary to me. He's got people following Latisha around, I guess, without her not even knowing this. Whether she knows it or not, it doesn't really matter. It's still kind of scary. He's got people following Latisha around to see what she's up to because he's been a sneaky dog, and so he thinks that she's sneaking around, and he wants to know exactly where's she going, who's she meeting up. Now he does it under the guise of it's really dangerous in Jackson, Mississippi, so he needs to keep an eye on her to keep her safe, which we all know is all BS. He just wants to know if she's seen another man. Now, if he is doing that, there is something wrong with Glenn. Glenn, there is something wrong with you. If he's doing this now when they're separated, He's probably still seeing somebody else. He's probably still, technically cheating on Latisha. I feel like, because this makes no sense. You know what kind of woman she is, and if she was seeing someone else, even though y'all are still legally married, y'all are separated now, and I wouldn't encourage her to go be with other people, but if she was seeing someone else, what the hell is wrong with that? She's not with Glenn. They're separated now. They're going through whatever they're going through. Why should she be committed and faithful and loyal to someone who she separated from, who wasn't committed, faithful, or loyal to her? Why would she have to keep up that whole facade, especially during the time when they're separated? Because he wasn't faithful or loyal or committed when they were married and living together in one home as a family. But you expect her to have these really high standards during the separation because of what? Why? Why does she have to have these high standards? So he confronts her in the parking lot. They're arguing back and forth. Latrice is in the shadows. She's in the bushes watching this whole argument take place. Not Latrice. Yeah, Latrice. So her and Glenn are arguing, and she doesn't like it. She don't want it. She's like, stop following me around. I'm not up to anything. What is it that you want to know? And he was like, you need to answer your phone. Next time, answer your phone. It is so funny and so crazy to me that the man who had no time for his wife, who had all the time in the world for other women, enough time to make other children, all of a sudden he's upset because she won't answer her phone when he calls her. It's just, that boggles my mind. So her and Latrice go inside the restaurant. They tell Marie the what's up, what Glenn was doing outside, and then they move on to other things. So we talk about Aikisha. So Aikisha supposedly had told Tambra, and Tambra had told the rest of the women that Aikisha referred to everybody as ugly. Now, the funny thing to me about Aikisha and Tambra's relationship, it seems like Tambra is trying to play both sides. And it seems like Tambra, even though Tambra brought Aikisha into the group, they don't look like they're actual friends. I don't know where they found Aikisha. Evidently, she auditioned or whatever, or some producer picked her, and they're gonna act like she and Tambra are friends, and Tambra brought her into the group because that's her homegirl. That is not her homegirl. I don't think that Aikisha and Tambra are friends, because the way Tambra has been moving with Aikisha, it's really, like, really fishy. Your friend confides in you and how she feels about the rest of the women, and you go and you tell the rest of the women exactly what she said about them. A friend wouldn't do that, especially since, Tambra, I don't think you're really that close to any woman in this friendship group. I don't think you're super super tight with anybody in this group. So the fact that you would find loyalty or lack of loyalty with Aikisha, because you want to talk, you want to spill the beans on what this woman has said about the other women. I just don't. Tambra, you're not friends with anybody. I don't think you're friends with anybody. So anyway, so they talk about Aikisha calling everybody ugly, and they're gonna confront her with that pretty soon. And then they talk about Demond and Taisha, and they don't really. What's her name? Latrice has suggested that maybe Latisha have a conversation with Tambra about Taisha, and so we'll see how that goes. And so Tambra also invited the women to her event, which we're going to get to later, and Latisha invited the women to her son's 7th birthday party. So Gucci. Do I even need to mention So Gucci? Okay, so Gucci and Jay. We find out that So Gucci has 2 kids. She has 2 older kids, a boy and a girl. Her daughter is actually 6 months pregnant right now. Jay has 3 daughters, as I had mentioned before, the 3 girls who were on Dancing Dolls. So he's got 3 daughters, the twins, Star and Sky, and then their older sister, Sanjay. So Gucci talks about, she tells her husband about Glenn, how Glenn was cheating on Latisha. He supposedly has this love child out there. And so Jay wants to have like a fishing trip with all the guys for him to get to the bottom of all of this, all of these rumors about Glenn and the mistress and the baby. And he wants to hear directly from Glenn exactly what's going on with all of that, instead of just hearing one side. Latisha. It's the birthday party now, Joshua's 7th birthday party. Glenn shows up, and Glenn and Latisha act like a damn fool at this baby's birthday party. It was a lot of let's argue, but not really argue, but then let's argue kind of thing. They couldn't control themselves. None of whatever happened between Latisha and Glenn should have taken place at this birthday party. They should have acted like united parents who were there for the benefit and for the enjoyment of their child. There should have been no tension. I mean, there's tension there, but they should not have shown the tension and acted on that tension. So I blame both Latisha and Glenn for acting completely foolish at their son's birthday party. I don't know if the little boy saw this or not, or sensed it or not. I don't know, but other people definitely did. This was not the time and place to talk about y'all's issues. There was a scene where, first of all, where was the rest of the cake? Like, what are you doing with this small, tiny cake? And there's like probably 30, 40 people there. What are you doing with this cake? What's going on? Well, anyways, so when Latisha was cutting the cake, Glenn was next to her, and they were arguing, and Latrice was trying to like kind of get in between them and like trying to distract them or stop their arguing. She was trying to do what an adult was supposed to do. Okay, the parents are arguing at their kid's birthday party, and she was trying to intervene without making a big scene. So Letitia and Glenn, they're arguing. Why? I don't know. Why do you have to talk about this now at this damn birthday party? Then there's a scene where Glenn goes to talk to Cliff, Latrice's husband, Cliff, and he wants some advice from an older man, about the issues he's going through with Latrice. Why? Why, Glenn? Why do you need to talk about this with Cliff now? Why don't you just call him up later? If you're so in dire need of advice, marital advice from a man who's been married for a while, who's been married before, who's been around the block a couple of times, and you see him as your elder and you want advice from him, why don't you give him a call afterwards? You don't have to talk to him right then and there at this child's birthday party. So he's talking to Glenn, but he's talking to Cliff, but he's not listening to Cliff. Cliff is trying to tell him, basically you got to try to gain her trust again and, try to start all over, try to let her know that you're there for her. He ain't trying to listen to none of that. He's talking about eagles picking up goats and dropping them off on the side of a mountain. I don't know what the hell Glenn is talking about, but the man is giving you advice, but you're not listening. You're just trying to get your point across. You're trying to gain sympathy points from him and just try to get your point across. What's the point? So while they're talking, here comes Latisha from wherever she was coming from, and she hears them, she sees them talking, and then she interrupts and she intervenes and she wants to get all up in the mix. No, Latisha, you should have just kept on walking. You should have just kept on walking past them. There's no need to stop and conversate and figure out what the hell is going on. What are y'all talking about? What are you telling him? You better be telling him the truth about me. That's not the place for this at all. So I was disappointed in both Latisha and Glenn. Moving on from there, Marie has a play date with Lakeisha. Nothing going on there except that they bonded over tragedy. The death of Marie's grandson's mother. They talked about that. They talked about her lupus. And so they were bonding over tragedy. Moving on from there, the fishing trip. So all the guys are on a fishing trip, right? Glenn starts talking about his marital issues with Latisha. He says, I'm going through all of this mess with my wife over a damn rumor. And the rumor being that there's this love child out there. And so Cliff in his confessional, which is exactly what I'm saying, just get a DNA test. Then you'll know the what's up. Then you'll know what to do with your relationship with Latisha. What are you doing? Get a damn DNA test to figure out if this child is yours or not. And let's move on with our lives. It doesn't make any sense to me that there's someone accusing you of fathering their child and you're just going around town talking about it to anyone who would listen and calling it rumors and she's lying on me and these rumors and these. Just get a DNA test and turn the rumors into facts or turn the rumors into lies. Just do something about it. Just shut up and do something about it. If it's your kid, do what you got to do and start helping the woman out financially. If it's not your kid, apologize to your wife and try to move on with whatever the hell you're trying to do with Latisha. But stop going around talking about these rumors, when you can just easily get a DNA test. Petition if the mom doesn't want to give her child or take her child to do the test voluntarily, petition the damn court. Let the judge order her to do it. Or once and for all, adjudicate you as not being the father of the child. Get an order done because she refused to take the child for the DNA test. Get an order done saying that paternity cannot be established, and then you can move on with your life. Moving on. Tambra. So she's gonna have she's hosting an event, and she calls it Sistervention 2.0. And it's for all the ladies to get together and finally clear the air on whatever issues they may have. All of them are there except for Marie, who is down with her lupus. She had a flare up. So it starts off between Akeisha and Latisha's brunch. So Akeisha tries to make it seem like I was not bringing any shade. I wasn't trying to be shady at all at your event. I came to your event. The plate was dirty, and I needed you to know that my plate was dirty so I can get a new plate. That's all it was. But it was your response to that that was actually shady, and I was feeding off of your response, and that's how things went left because of how you responded to me. Latisha sees it differently, of course. She's like, you came there with bad energy. You came there already, with the bad attitude. You were already trying to pick on everything. It didn't just stop with the plate. You went on to other things, nitpicking and criticizing everything else about my damn brunch, and my brunch is for a good cause. And so Akeisha didn't agree, so they're going back and forth and back and forth. Okay, fine, whatever. So I want to know, if they're having these kind of issues over a dirty plate, how are they going to work together on this whole Ferris Street project? How's that going to happen? How's that going to happen? And if Latisha in season 1 was ready to go forward with her Ferris Street project, all she needed was some people to invest in it, then why does she need Akeisha now if she didn't need her then? I don't understand. Because now they're making it seem like because Akeisha owns property, or her family owns a lot of property or buildings on Ferris Street, that Latisha can't move forward without Akeisha. Because now we're trying to figure out how these women are going to work together if they have this much blood between them. But then in season 1, Latisha didn't need Akeisha. We didn't even know what an Akeisha was in season 1. And Latisha was ready to move forward with the whole Ferris Street thing. I don't know. Tambra, go talk to Taisha. Get her side of the story so you can have the full picture, because no one is ever going to give you 100% of what's really going on, because it's her version, his version, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. So be a smart woman, Tambra. If you really want to be serious with this man, go talk to Taisha. Latisha, I would get a restraining order on Glenn, like for real. If you felt that uncomfortable, if you felt that uncomfortable about Glenn following you around, get a restraining order, because I would say it makes me feel extremely unsafe that, my estranged husband is following me around, basically stalking me all over the city. I don't feel safe at all. Him and his goonies are stalking me. So, yeah, I need a restraining order. That's what I would do. Get a damn restraining order, unless you like the attention. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. That is my review of Belle Collective. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, please subscribe. And I will definitely talk to you later.